Okay, it's happened. The big reveal for Overwatch 2, the stream where they are going to sit down and let us know what's actually happening with the 6th season. Given all of the drama that has been going on and the game's pretty damn rough-looking numbers, as I covered quite recently, a lot has been riding on this. I think there is good, there is also bad. So let's jump into things then. Now, this live stream happened just a week after Season 5 started. It's a bit bizarre. Season 5 is here, and all their marketing is immediately on to Season 6. It's funny, because Season 5 is actually quite charming with its sort of D&D theme that's going on. Now, one thing that will absolutely prove to bite them in the ass as we keep on going forward is that this was done in a television studio-style interview with developers, which is insane. And suffice to say, the quality of the content doesn't matter when you show it off very, very poorly, which is exactly what they did. But let's talk about what they showed off, and I'll start with the thing that you probably care about the most, the invasion story missions. Of course, as we know, part of PvE is cancelled, and what we're going to get is this. And the only way to get this is $15. You have to buy a bundle, or you will not be able to play this. And to play this in co-op, the other people who you're playing it with, they will also have to buy the to buy the bundle. So it's all quite monetized. Now, they showed off footage from their Gothenburg map, which is an entirely new environment that's got Torbjorn's workshop and also the Rio map. Now, these maps will have different layouts, even if they are based on PvP maps. Of course, the missions have very different gameplay needs to, from PvP to PvE, so a lot of that stuff is a bit different. The overall story here is that Winston calls all the Overwatch people back, which, of course, is the trailer that we got 7 years ago, so I suppose we've been waiting for this for 7 years. I'm sorry, core Overwatch fans, I know, you've not really got a lot, have you? And it's funny because taken in the context of Blizzard's broader ambition to, crawl, walk, and then eventually run back into Project Titan, the MMO, I think this Overwatch recall shot, it does take on some new context. Anyhow, what we learn basically is that this is where we'll canonically see characters actually meet each other. There are new Omnic enemy designs and things like that, new gameplay resulting from that, and they showed off a bunch of concept art. And that was really it. This was extremely light on actual core details. I will talk more about that soon, but first, the next thing, which is event missions. So, event missions are coming in Season 6. Thus far, they don't seem to be something that you have to pay for. I'm fairly sure it is that. But again, a problem with the format that they showed this off with was that it was really unclear. Even when I was looking at the Twitch chat, people were super confused for the whole stream. Again, very bad job, Blizzard. Anyhow, the first map is set on King's Row. It's basically a slightly extended version of the PvP map, and these are meant to be highly replayable, where they're going to have multiple difficulty modes, and also kind of like affixes, it seems, like different hero rosters in different weeks, different tweaks to the gameplay, that sort of thing, to encourage the replayability. And they do have the same enemies as the story mode. And these will be a mixture of canonical and non-canonical things. So I suppose if they're doing the story in the main PvE missions, they can show different battles in the war, or whatever they want, through these, should they want to. And unfortunately, no gameplay of this was shown. There were just screenshots of the map, which I think is kind of unfortunate. Finally then, for our PvE content, there is Hero Mastery. They show this off for about 6 minutes, and it's basically a big virtual reality training thing. And to be honest with you, they did look quite cool to me in terms of being platform challenges. A little bit of me was reminded of and I know it's a very different kettle of fish, but the time trial modes in Mirror's Edge, which is a type of content that actually people can really enjoy. So with this, it's about showing off mastery and also getting in some practice. I think the idea that maybe if you were to complete the hardest version of this for the character of Mercy, that would probably show that you have a good grasp of Mercy's movement mechanics. One of the things that was initially disappointing is only 5 heroes are going to be included in the first release of this. Now, it does seem we'll have 3 difficulties for each of those 5 heroes, and this is actually going to be a mid-Season 6 release. It won't be there at launch. I suppose then they see this as another type of content that they can just keep rolling out over time. And then, one thing that's been interesting with live services is a lot of cases, have taken the usual player leveling that we expect from video games and they've put them onto battle passes. And that does mean that, yes, people are getting all their bing bing wahoo cosmetics as they play the game, but it also has meant a feeling of impermanence has been put into these games. The idea that you don't actually have a level in your account, it's just a matter of what battle passes you happen to have participated in. Halo Infinite really suffered from this on its launch, and quite recently it has finally got account-wide leveling in. Overwatch 2 now is going to get that as well, but also it does highlight rather hilariously how the format that they showed this off hurt them. Basically, you will start earning emblems for your heroes and basically better cards. So the idea here is as you are playing and playing and playing, you rank up. You get these really, I mean, honestly, the art does look pretty sick. Definitely a fan of that. And here, the way it works is you've got like your overall level for the character of Reinhardt, and then you can show off what emblems you want. So I think this is quite cool. I think they should take a look at the little calling cards that they made in Final Fantasy XIV as an example of like one of these systems done really well. There's a lot of unlocks, a lot of customization. People have done some hilarious not safe for work things. It's a cool system. More of that would be nice. So I do like this. I do think that in terms of rewards, it should have more. I think that there should be milestone rewards that actually give you the likes of, if we're to assume the Battle Pass has to stay, Battle Pass experience, maybe some other things so that players would be a bit more excited about it. Now, initially, people thought this was just a thing for characters and that it wasn't an overall account level. It actually turned out, though, per what Aaron Keller has said, no, player levels are part of this system. He just forgot to mention it because he gets nervous sometimes, which, again, isn't his fault. It's a fault of the format and the production that they chose to go with, which didn't give their people an opportunity to communicate what this actually would be in an effective manner. It seems like they've just taken random Overwatch League, like in-between match interviews and used that as a model for how to do this type of content, which is thoroughly baffling. Anyhow, basically, there are multiple different categories. The experience is uncapped. You keep your own record of how you play. It's not something where they want you to jump through hoops to get challenges in a way where you feel like the name card and player leveling system will be changing how you actually play the game. The next thing then is the bit that to me is decently interesting. First though, I just want to call something out. We're also a game studio here. Our first video game, The Pale Beyond, it's got a 91% overall on Steam, and I'm happy to say that we're on sale until the 29th of June. So if you'd like to pick up The Pale Beyond now is a very, very good time to do so indeed if you're interested in a narrative survival role-playing game where you can get a lot of people killed. I happen to get a pretty perfect run on hard mode, but then I see runs where people die and characters are then angry at you because you've let them die, and oh boy, I love how the writing just spirals. So even if you do play The Pale Beyond and get a really good run first time, I would encourage you to see what happens when you make a different choice or maybe some things go wrong, because that is all paid off pretty damn hardcore. Okay, let's talk about Flashpoint then. It's a new game mode. And what Aaron Keller basically said is they've realized if you just keep on adding payload maps, ultimately payload is payload is payload. Yes, payload maps can be different, but there's only so many ways a payload map can be different. And if you want the game to truly feel different to play, you're actually going to need a new mode, and you're going to need new maps designed around that mode. So now we've got, what you could say is just an enhanced version of like Headquarters in any other game, but I do think that in Overwatch fashion, they're doing a good job of their maps and their game mode, both justifying each other. So Flashpoint is basically a mode where you have a large map. There are a total of 5 different points, and the way that it basically works is one point will be active. Both teams will fight over that point. Once that point has been captured by a team in the usual way points are captured, another point will unlock. And it's the first team to cap 3 points ultimately that will win. The maps are quasi-symmetrical. Both teams basically have the same layout that they'll be approaching points by, but the areas in between points might be a decent bit more distinctive. These are the biggest maps they've actually ever put into Overwatch PvP, and there's 2 of them, Cervasa and New Junk City. And honestly, from what they showed off, these both do look really, really good. Now, Blizz said that they expect these to be well, because they're larger maps and it's a new game mode, that there'll be a decently long tail to the learning curve and actually gaining map knowledge for these, just because there is more scale. And ultimately, that is what they showed off. So now we got to talk about the overall Overwatch product. On the topic of big vision, Aaron Keller basically was talking of like, this is what the game's like now, but we're going to keep on doing this for 3 to 5 years. When we've done that, imagine how big the game will be. Now, if we're to take him at his word, in 3 to 5 years, if they keep up vaguely this content cadence, in terms of pure content, yes, there will be a lot of heroes, a lot of maps, probably a decent amount of PvE content, massive asterisks and business model though. Will that actually work? And I think ultimately that's where I am a little bit more concerned, because even though they're pumping out a lot of content, it doesn't seem that they've managed to make their core community super happy. That's kind of what I'm worried about. As for my impressions of what's going on here, for PvE, honestly, this looks like Overwatch Archives plus a little bit. I mean, the set pieces that are definitely a bit higher budget, those do look pretty cool. Like, yeah, that's a Big Mac. Big Mac looks awesome. I want to see Overwatch actually having some teeth in its universe, some things actually happening. So to me, all of that is good. That being said, I do have concerns about what it really is as a game. In the older version, I kind of understood, because the older pitch was you would have a full campaign that you would play, and then after that you would have all the different missions, which would be the sort of more replayable, I don't know if you take a leaf out of Left 4 Dead or something, but those replayable missions where you're getting XP, you're progressing your heroes, you're able to choose talent points and actually change up how your heroes play. We're not going to have that with these. Now, I imagine there'll be some stuff tied to them, but I'm just not really sure. And again, this is the sort of thing that they should have been addressing in this, instead of just having a bunch of people waffle on, and it really was true waffle, and they just waffled for 9 minutes. There was a massive lack of details in the sort of concrete way that players who are being asked to purchase something, like what they actually want to know. So that I'm concerned about. That they showed off so little also does not inspire confidence. We know there are instances where the press have played this. They've said that you're dealing with roughly 3 missions that are about 30 minutes each, and the press seem to have good, good opinions on it after playing it. But again, we haven't seen that. Show, don't tell. They didn't even tell, they just waffled about. Also, we got to think about price, and this is what's weird. People are saying it's $5 a mission. That's not Blizzard's framing, though, so let's go through that. $15 bundle has 3 missions and 1,000 Overwatch coins, that being enough for the Battle Pass. Also, access to Sojourn after completing the story, and a Sojourn Legendary skin for that is $19 value, sorry, meaning that overall they're pitching it as $29 of value, but hey, if you want even more value. Again, I think we're all just thinking about the Diablo Immortal, the bundle, the little, ooh, this is 800% value. And we're definitely thinking about that, because in the $40 bundle, you get all the above, plus the Null Sector Premium Pass, which is a $30 value. That is the, that's the pass, plus the 20 tier skips, plus another 1,000 Overwatch credits, bringing you to 2,000 Overwatch credits, which is enough to actually buy some stuff. Then also a Cassidy and Kiriko legendary skin, which is $38 in total, so that they are pitching at $107. Let me just, zoom in and out of this fantastic Rich Evans image to really get the point across. Thank you, Rich Evans. Whew, that doesn't work. As for my other opinions and things, those event missions, honestly, I think that stuff's really cool. I think that what they should really be doing here, though, is they should be even taking inspiration from their now axed plans, and also from StarCraft 2 co-op commanders. Just have some basic, and maybe this is something they can do in the future, maybe this can be a major release, but what they need to do is have a free-to-play PvE loop, because right now they have a free-to-play PvP loop, right? You keep on playing the game, and you buy some money because you want a cool skin for the character that's your favorite one that you play. That's how it works in Valorant with guns, that's how it works in League of Legends with champs, that's how it works with Overwatch PvP. But what they've completely bloody well forgotten, for the core of their business model, is that people need to be able to play PvE in the same way that they're playing PvP. So, we don't need just one fleeting jaunt to New London. No, it's not called New London, whatever it is. The London map where we have this event mission. King's Row, that's it. We don't need one. This needs to be an evolving library. It needs to not run out over time. You know, it can't be that a season ends and you lose the map and you can't play it. People need to have a, maybe this contributes to their account level. Maybe they have a PvE account level. They need unlocks and rewards for playing this. Ideally, perhaps some form of like prestige or power or something like that. I'm trying to say here, they need to look at like Deep Rock Galactic. They need to look at, I don't know, even Vermintide or something like that. They need to look at those sorts of things and realize that they need to build as quickly as they can a light version of that. Because with this in King's Row, it'll probably be really fun. But if it's just something that people, they go in, they play it for a week or two, and then they go away, that's not going to work. And if it's fleeting and disappears in the next season, then people don't feel like the game is growing, they don't feel like value overall is being added. So basically, treat this like it's called Zombies or something like that, and add to it. Keep it in the game permanently and have this be your free-to-play PvE mode. And then have the more prestige story stuff. You can monetize that or whatever, but you need to have this, have it be there for free, not be an event. Because right now, the way that they're basically going to do this, if everything we've seen thus far is to go by, this will maybe have some skin or something that you can unlock for free, but otherwise the main draw for players to do this will just be a whole bunch of Battle Pass XP. That is not exciting. There needs to be a separate thing for PvE. It needs to feel like there is a evergreen PvE part of the game that is constantly growing in the way that the evergreen PvP version of the game does actually keep on growing, like it is with the player progression system and the new Flashpoint mode. If they do that, they'll actually get a long way to re-engaging that Overwatch audience, but right now, they're just not doing it right. The next thing, and I've talked about this a bunch, but this is the worst way you could have shown this off, Blizzard. Seriously. Right, your job is to present people with an exciting vision of the game. What you did was random anecdotes, a host saying replayability every few lines, and everybody waffling and saying basically not that much. Because guess what? We have eyes. We can see these characters. We can kind of understand why you're interested in them. Frankly, the player who's being asked to pony up money, they actually don't care about that waffle stuff. That's extra behind the scenes. What the player cares about is the value proposition, why it's exciting. And they did an awful job of showing that off for everything bar Invasion, Flashpoints even. When I was looking through the Twitch chats and the YouTube comments, people are generally happy with Flashpoint and everything else fell flat. The entire tone and format of this also felt like they were unaware of their relative position of weakness, because if you're looking weak, but then you come out strong, with an actual good quality showcase that's communicating things in their best light, then people will say, God, would you look at that? They're powering through. Whereas if you get a bunch of people waffling along when you're not actually showing much, then people will assume, wow, you're in a position of weakness and you don't even know it. You look incompetent and stupid. Not saying that those people are incompetent and stupid. Far from it. I'm saying that this bad format of presentation will make people feel like that, because again, first impressions matter, and what you immediately see in the 30 seconds you tune onto that stream should excite you and blow you away. They should take a look at the Apple presentations. That is the best that any of that has done in just about any industry. Their, seamless camera stuff, the amazing quality of the presentation, the absurd production values, and they should not try to do that because that's bloody impossible and they don't have Apple money. But they should think, how have they just turned a product announcement thing into like a 90-minute entertainment experience? How can we do that for a 15-minute showcase video, 4-hour video game, so that people will be really excited? Things like, say, not just having static shots of set pieces. Things like not having, no gameplay being showed. Remember the first Overwatch trailer? The really well-cut one that was just going through all of these great scenes of combat that absolutely sold the vision? Should have had that for your invasion missions. People would have felt good. I mean, as an alternative, even just get your game director in front of a damn camera and give him a presentation. Do it like a miniature BlizzCon panel. Because then he would be talking about stuff that he knows, he would have a structure to talk to, and you would be developing a massive asset to your brand, which is the player's relationship with the director. Now, look, this is not me coming in and being like, the great man theory of history, where, we just zoom in on one person and discount that it's a whole team. I'm not trying to do that, but one of the greatest assets that Blizzard had was Jeff Kaplan, and that's because he was the face of the team. When bullshit happened, he insulated the team from the bullshit, and from what we understand, he also insulated the team from a lot of the Activision bullshit and a lot of the cultural bullshit. All that stuff's really good. What they need to do is build Keller up so that people can eventually see Keller like they did with Jeff. Because Aaron Keller has actually been, from what I understand, on this project since the Titan MMO days. So, like, he is legit, right? He can speak to all of this with complete authority. There's no reason why he can't. They just need to put their best foot forward. And when you are just putting your people on the spot on a live stream and you're getting people's first reactions to questions, even though, sure, they've been schooled a bit, but when it's being done live, as evidenced by Keller being nervous and forgetting something, then that is just not good. You need to, from a production and marketing standpoint, let your people put their best foot forward and not randomly throw themselves into a situation where it's not going to work. I've seen Keller speak direct to camera from multiple of those sort of, like director-led or Jeff Kaplan style things. And it works. Anyhow, is this what we are to expect, right? Regular new game modes, regular new heroes, PvE event missions that everybody can play, and then regular story missions. Is that basically what we can expect? I think basically yes. And in terms of purely just content, that would be good, but I think a lot of Blizzard's issue is how they deploy it. So let's talk about mending things. This is a free-to-play game, right? They should have the story missions be accessible for free during the season. Maybe charge for access after, right? Maybe just things that when they're done, they go into the Overwatch archives and you have to buy the Overwatch archive pass. And maybe that's just the way that it works, whatever. But let people at least get in, or maybe play with their friends, be sort of grandfathered in because their friend bought the pack. That would also be good. Maybe you get a bit of a network effect there because people have got to play it to believe it. You got to launch those seasons with the big value bundles. I'm not against things like these. Ooh, big value bundles, whatever. It's a free-to-play game. You strip the access out of that, and it's basically like the World of Warcraft Classic Collector's Edition. The WoW Classic Collector's Edition wasn't needed because you didn't need to buy WoW Classic. People just bought the WoW Classic Collector's Edition because it had cool shit in it that they liked, and that to them was of value because they like WoW Classic, even though they're still paying a WoW sub for it. That actually works for monetization. You gotta think about how the gacha genre weaponizes generosity, because in gacha games, imagine if they basically never let you do gacha pulls for free. You wouldn't even engage in the economy that's the fundamental part of their business model. So ultimately the thing with the gacha devs is they know that they are running evil bullshit, but they just try to be as generous as possible so that the average player who doesn't buy a load of stuff actually still has a good time, and so that the people with lots of money feel like, oh yeah, this is like a high-flying casino, but it's one with real good odds, and I'm just going to pump my money in and enjoy the VIP experience. That's why you got so many gacha games where you look at the pity system, and then you compare the pity system to that of the legendary gems in Diablo Immortal, and you think, holy shit, Diablo Immortal is a gacha game, yes, but it's so much less, again, air quotes, generous and fair and balanced than the other gacha games, and that is even why, for a lot of the mobile gamers, they're actually irate at. So what do they need to do? Number one, put 500 premium currency in the battle pass and then double the current rate of weekly challenge earnings. That is enough so that regular players will be able to pay for their battle pass and then some. You need to do that because your player's only going to care about the Overwatch currency if they can buy the battle pass, continually get skins, and then because they're having a good experience in the game and they feel like they're actually getting a good value, they can then go and maybe purchase another cosmetic or a bundle because they want to. I remember back when I played a lot of Smite and when I played a bunch of League of Legends. I was having a really good time with both of those games, and I bought premium skins. And I bought premium skins because I thought the game was cool, I was enjoying it, I thought the skins were actually of a really good quality. I didn't feel ripped off because the game was giving me a good value proposition otherwise. Right now, they haven't achieved that. And if they truly want to make a lot of money, then they need their PvE to be evergreen, always on, and be something that people can enjoy as a core pillar of the game, just like PvP. So those event missions cannot be event missions. Those event missions absolutely need to be something that is just added to a game mode that perhaps in 2 or 3 years will actually have a shitload of content and a boatload of progression. So I sent a message into our chat that's just like, look, if you know that you're a bit sus, you got to be generous. And I used as an example, I think it's Dubai, where obviously the people don't have a lot of freedom or that kind of thing, but there's like a social safety net that's like pretty insane because of all the oil money. So it's one of those things where it's like, Yeah, you know, you are going to get less freedom, but you are going to get peace and stability. And for that, don't do an uprising on us. And Connor said back, bread and circuses. That's the idea of, you know, it's Rome. You got a bit of a public order problem. Let's throw bread in games. And he said, but in the Overwatch model, it's bread and circuses, but you pay for the circus and the bread has holes. And I really have not seen the business model of this game be put into one glorious sentence as well as he did there. That is ultimately what I think. And I do have, finally for this video, a horrid confession that I must make to you. I've actually been playing a lot of Overwatch 2 recently. I really enjoy it. You know, I've been playing Reinhardt a lot more, trying to tank. There's the new 4v1 demon thing that's actually a fun little game mode. I like playing demon Reinhardt and trying to have mind games with the other players and just killing them all. I'm trying to be better at PvP, trying to get better game sense, trying to get better mechanical skills. And that is the funny thing. I am enjoying it. Like, I know the game has problems, and whenever there's a Life Weaver there, I'm definitely thinking, oh, I wish he was buffed because he's on my team. But it is a game that you can just boot up and have fun with. Again, I'm playing it just because I want to be better at an FPS, and I happen to enjoy how this one plays. But that is my horrific confession here. It is to say that even though I have a lot of criticisms going, you know, throughout here, I'm still going to say that, are you wrong to boot up Overwatch 2, play it, and enjoy it? Absolutely not. This is a case where a lot of us are just saying, look, this game is nowhere near as good as it could be, and we actually want Overwatch 2 to be way better because we want it to do better. I think a lot of the people who like Overwatch 2, they want to see Overwatch 2 having 50,000 concurrents on average on Twitch, maybe 100,000, maybe more concurrents, maybe to get back up there, actually be trading blows with Valorant, League, or those other big games. And why do they want that? They want that because then they feel like the game will be better. Maybe it'll be a better value proposition. Maybe over time they'll get the PvE that they want. Maybe the business model will be remedied to the point where it's better, more competitive with the rest of the market. Like, that's ultimately why we talk here. It's not like Redfall, where we're like, huh, Redfall, Isle of Mau, why did they do that to Arcane, the Persod? We genuinely want this game to be good. We want it to be better because the actual core of this game, the beating heart of Overwatch, plays marvelously. And I think that 5v5 is so much better than 6v6. I am having a blast with Overwatch 2, and that's why I want it to be better. And there are little glimmers of improvement. The current season, like, look, the whole framing of the season is Tracer's girlfriend's like doing a D&D campaign for everybody. And throughout the battle pass, all of the cosmetics are like themed in and around, you know, sort of like D&D and that kind of brand of fantasy. A lot of the skins are actually really good. They're really good. And in an environment where broadly we were all very happy with Overwatch, and, you know, we weren't left wanting, I feel like a lot of those skins, people will be fine dropping $10. You know, $10, get a bunch of legendary skins, continue playing the game, have some fun, happy, everyone's good. But they just haven't quite reached there yet. As the final thing, hey Blizz, don't have an expiring battle pass, okay? Because here's the thesis. The best battle pass in all of gaming, structurally, is Halo Infinite's. Its content isn't, but structurally it is, because the Halo Infinite passes contain premium currency and they never expire. They simply move on to the next one, and if you want to go back and complete a battle pass you've already done, you can do that. It doesn't delete the battle pass you paid money for. So at a bare minimum, I think battle passes, if a battle pass expires and goes kaput, it better have a bunch of premium currency inside it. And if it is one that you pay for, it better never expire. And that also is important because, hey Blizzard, you absolute dipshit. The Season 5 Battle Pass is pretty good. It's got its little story that you can click through as time goes on. Wouldn't it be a shame if somebody liked the idea of that Battle Pass in a year's time because they just got into Overwatch 2? Wouldn't it be a shame if they couldn't just, like it was Halo Infinite, activate that Battle Pass and, you know, progress their way through earning some of those cool fantasy-inspired skins? Yeah, because if you actually do your battle passes like Halo Infinite did, then every single battle pass, in a way, is a thing that you have put into the game that will actually stand to the game over time, instead of being a fleeting thing, where you're running a live service where, you know, it's, as a Wile E. Coyote, I don't know, you know, like you're building the railroad in front of you, but as soon as you run over it, it just falls to pieces and explodes. That's how you're making Overwatch. Instead, you want to build. That is it for me. If you want to support us, the best way to do that is to purchase our video game, The Pale Beyond, a Antarctic, in sort of heroic age of Antarctic exploration inspired narrative survival game. you will lead people, make decisions, maybe make some bad decisions. Certainly, if you make bad decisions, trust me, roll with them, because we are absolutely a game that will pay off you sticking with your save. You know, play it like it's WoW Classic, play it like it's an Iron Man mode, and, you know, I think, yeah, shit gets gnarly, man. Anyhow, that's on Steam, links down below. Have a brilliant day. See you next time.